Hey everybody, welcome. It is the Karate America Community Livestream. I'm Mrs. Quirk. With me tonight we have Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide from our virtual worldwide team. It's so good to have everybody on the stream tonight. Thanks for joining us for another episode. These live streams have been a lot of fun. So for those of you who already know the drill, if you're on Facebook, look at the link right above us. Should be a link for you to go to StreamYard. It's streamyard.com/Facebook. And that way, whenever we get to the point in the episode where you'll be giving us your questions and your comments, letting us know that you're here, we'll be able to see your name and you won't just come up as an anonymous Facebook user. So go to streamyard.com/Facebook for your name to actually appear in the comments for our broadcast tonight. Same thing for YouTube. There should be a link in the description in the comments for you to actually leave your name. StreamYard is the platform, it's the software that we use to stream through, and that's how we get our comments up with our users' names. So welcome tonight. Before we jump in, we're going to have a great episode tonight. I'm really excited about a couple of pieces that we have in store for everybody tonight. So before we jump in and getting some questions and conversations with Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide, I do have some announcements. So let's get to it. First off, we have our spring break camp, and it's going to be at our Brookfield location. However, it's open to our Pewaukee families. It's open to the public. It's open to our Brookfield families. So I think I spoke with Mr. Hansen about this a day or two ago. I think we have a handful of spots left still. So if you are thinking about registering your child for our spring break camp, that's March 26th through April 4th. Make sure you get on it, go to the KA app and get your camper registered, because those last several spots, I don't think they're going to last very long. This is very exciting. We're going to talk about this tonight because I know this is a biggie for Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide, as well it should be. We have our virtual game show night coming up this Saturday, March 13th. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time, and you can register for that on the KA app. It is for young achievers and up, and I'm not going to steal the virtual team's thunder, so let's just talk about some details later on in the episode. Suffice it to say, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited about that. So get on the KA app. Get your kiddo set up for that. And I will say it's $30 for the 3 hours. However, if they bring a friend, it's free for both kids. And I think this is going to be our first ever Karate America event where a friend can bring a friend from out of state, which I know we have happening on Saturday night. So that's really, really exciting. Very, very cool. Our summer camp. Okay, so these spots are going quickly, guys. If you want your kiddo to sign up for summer camp, make sure that you get onto our app and get signed up for the summer. I know that we are well over 50% filled by now, and with the warm weather that we have happening in Wisconsin, people's thoughts are turning to summer, so those spots are going to go quickly. Go on the KA app and register for summer camp. Last but not least, we have Legacy Night. Now that's going to be coming up not this weekend, but the following weekend. It's Friday, March 19th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be held at our Brookfield location, and it's open to all Legacy and leadership team members. So moms and dads, if you have questions about whether or not your student can go, make sure you follow up with your team at your academy. At Pewaukee, that's Ms. Phillips, Mr. Kozlowski. At Brookfield, that's Ms. Hansen, sometimes Mrs. Bray and Mr. Hansen. And worldwide, of course, it's Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide. Check out, talk to them and find out if you have any questions about whether your student can go to that really, really cool Legacy Night. So now that we have our announcements all on the books, Mr. Pieper, Ms. DeWaide, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the live stream.
So good to be here. I love it. It's exciting watching the last two and then being a part of the third one. I'm pumped.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Good. I know you two, I think out of all of our team members, sort of live in a virtual world with your students and with your parents that you make connections with. So hopefully this is just another extension of the way that you guys live purpose and values through the screen.
Yes, I feel like I'm confined always to the box.
Yeah. So let's start from the very beginning. So some of our parents and some of our families and some people who are watching may not completely know about what has been happening, what our worldwide program is with Karate America. And I'd like one of you to just please share what is our virtual program? Because I think for a lot of schools, a lot of academies around the country right now, they're streaming classes. Virtual classes are something they kind of have for a stopgap since COVID hit, when people just simply can't make it to in-person classes. And what we've done with our program is a little bit different. So can you talk about that, Mr. Pieper, and bring people up to speed on what is KA Worldwide? Why do we even call it worldwide? Why not just call it virtual classes?
Right. So with being worldwide, we truly want to be worldwide. We want students from every corner of the world with one purpose. We inspire people to believe themselves. So even tonight, I actually taught a student all the way from New York City for the first time, which was amazing.
That's so cool.
We're literally growing our sphere of influence. So we can be a more on purpose and just amazing community. And when it comes to Mrs. Quirk's question, just about how we are set differently, in person, karate is awesome. But I would also hazard that the virtual also has amazing experiences in like Mrs. Quirk had told me earlier in the day, it was like with gas mileage and things, you can literally do karate from your very own home. Like,
right,
that's
from
really
your living room.
cool. From your very own living room. So that's one of the reasons I love it. What about you, Miss DeWaide?
So I know we touched on it briefly of some people treat a virtual or online classes as a sort of stopgap. We really want to take this as our new location and build it as we would a new school. So it's really exciting. We get to reach and talk to people we never would be able to with just our regular physical in-person locations. So it's really awesome to be able to get to talk to people and have on-purpose conversations and teach martial arts to people from all around the country. We not only do we have students from New York, we have some from, I believe, Virginia. We have a family that moved to Ohio. We have Minnesota. We have Illinois. So it's a lot
Michigan,
more than just.
I think Michigan
and Michigan
right?
recently,
yeah.
yes. So it's a lot more too than just who we can get out around our academy. So.
Absolutely. Really quick, I have to just pop in here. I know we have Mr. Orlock congratulating Ms. Hanson on her recent promotion to sales manager. So absolutely want to take this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Hanson on that big move in our Karate America organization and for her personally. So awesome. You know, Mr. Quirk is bringing in a comment. Imagine a world that lives on purpose, guided by values. And, you know, I think that, and I think that you and I have talked about this, both you, Ms. DeWaide, and you, Mr. Pieper, and I have talked about, I think, so much that happened with COVID, specifically in the field of martial arts. Right when it happened, I mean, it was pretty much about a year-ish ago, right? And these weeks that we were just pivoting and saying, wow, what's happening in martial arts? What's happening with classes? And there were the team, the Karate America team, Mr. Quirk, Mr. Mealy, Mr. Hanson, you all, people just rallied, and we had lights and we had soundboards and we had Zoom accounts, and we were just scrambling to set up how we get these virtual classes for our students, because Mr. Quirk has always said, no matter what, Karate America will be open. We will be there for our students. Come hell or high water, come weather, come whatever. You know, I remember back when 9/11 happened, and it was like that night, do we do classes or not? And he was like, no, we're going to be there for our students. We will be a pillar for our community no matter what. So for us, within a matter of, I think like within a day or two, we took a business that for going on almost 30 years, like 20 to 30 years, had been brick and mortar, and made it virtual. And it was sort of like the Steamboat Willie days. I mean, we barely knew what we were doing, and the connections were a little wonky, but we did it. And I know you were right there from the beginning teaching, right, Mr. Pieper? And what was that? And I don't remember whether you were coordinating yet, Ms. DeWaide. I don't even know if we were that high tech at that point a year ago. But Mr. Pieper, if you could tell us a little bit about what those early days were like.
So I wasn't even teaching at that point. I remember it was that Monday. I came in because we were going to do like after school daycare camp because the schools had closed already at that point.
Yep.
Our school district did. And so I remember coming in with a lesson plan for the night of classes on Gym 2, was ready to rock it. And then I remember being told, hey, we're not going to have in-person night classes. We're until the second day on that Tuesday that we're going to do virtual. I remember Mr. Quirk came in, he had his headphones, he had a soundboard, he was plugging in wires on Gym 2, there was lights. And I just remember being like, what is going on? I thought this was a karate school. All of a sudden, literally overnight, like you said, Mrs. Quirk, we transformed into a studio, like a recording studio, like instantly.
Yeah. And if any of you are watching, whoever is watching, so our emoji challenge tonight is if you have taken any of our virtual classes, if you're part of our worldwide virtual students now, leave us a globe emoji and let us know where you're watching from. If you've enjoyed any of the classes or any of the offerings, drop a little globe emoji in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. And I think that, you know, in those first weeks and those first months, it was sort of a scary thing. Like, what's even happening? What's happening in our world? I mean, I don't want to rehash what it was feeling like about a year ago because it wasn't super pleasant. We're in a much better place now today, thank goodness. But one of the challenges that we really put out there for our team and for ourselves is, okay, so how do we really walk our talk and live purpose? and not make this virtual karate thing something that we just endure and get through? How do we make it not just this Band-Aid until we can get to the good stuff? How do we make this the good stuff? And where are there opportunities to reach, to your point, Ms. DeWaide, people that we never would have reached before? And so we've really, in the last, I think especially, we really started to ramp things up like in the fall, and pay a lot of attention to what we're doing with virtual. I mean, we've done a lot of science behind the scenes and trying to capture, we might not be able to do the actual steps that we always do in brick and mortar, but we're trying to capture the intention and the purpose. And we're really leaning into connection and community and just trying to make it a really high caliber program for our families and for our students. And yeah, to take our purpose and our values worldwide. That's why we call it Karate America Worldwide. We don't call it virtual anymore. We call it worldwide. So if you guys hear us talk about worldwide this and worldwide that, that's what we're referring to. And you're right, Ms. DeWaide, it is basically like a third location. I mean, this is our third academy. We truly say that we have Brookfield, we have Pewaukee, and we have Worldwide. And we have students training with us. We're going to get a treat here in a minute, but we have students training with us that haven't even been to our academies in Brookfield and Pewaukee in Wisconsin. Like, how crazy is that, right? A year ago, we wouldn't be able to say that. 2 years ago, that would have been unthinkable, that we would have actual students training to their belts that have never set foot in a Karate America brick and mortar academy. So that's really, really exciting. We got Mr. J from New Berlin, Wisconsin, 3 globes. I love it. Mrs. Jury is saying from Waukesha, they do hybrid virtual, and then they come for in-person classes in Brookfield. Oh, hey, look at this. We got a Facebook user from Minnesota. Very exciting. Which brings me to a very exciting piece of our episode tonight. So we are about to bring in I got a real treat for you guys. We are about to bring in some of our virtual worldwide students all the way from the great state of Minnesota. We have Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey. Welcome, guys.
Hello, team.
Hi, thank you.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on our live stream tonight, guys.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having us.
Do I see a little rosy glow after your classes? Is that
A
a
lot of
little,
sweat.
Yeah.
little shiny rosy glow?
Just finished class with Mr. Pieper, and we were sweating bullets.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
Nice. How was class?
It was a good night. It was a good night. It was a tough workout, some exercise, and worked on some technique a little bit, which was great. Some balance. That was great. Really
That's fantastic. Now you all are in the Twin Cities, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In Minnesota. Okay. So tell us a little bit. I got a couple of questions for you all. Overall, how has been your virtual training experience? Is it what you thought? Is it not what you thought? How has it been taking classes from another state?
You wanna go first?
Sure, I can start. I would say that I think ahead of time, maybe a couple of thoughts I had were, well, I'm going to be kicking stuff off of my wall. We don't really have space for this. We have a tiny home, and I was thinking that. And that has not been the case at all. It's been nice and contained. Mr. Pieper does a great job of, planning out the drills so that we're not flying everywhere, and it's been perfectly safe for us. We haven't seen each other either.
Yep, that's good.
So that's one thought I have. I mean, really, the big thing that I would just say right now, because I'm so tired, is it's such a good workout.
Yeah, talk to me about that. I know we were doing our test stream last night, and you guys, I think you were referencing like some soreness in your core and being a little bit surprised at what a workout it is. So
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, and it's actually great because I have tried some other things during the pandemic, signed up for Peloton and signed up for other like online stuff, but there's no real-time interaction with those things. And so there's less accountability, or just less, I admit that I feel less motivated when I'm doing them, because I can kind of sneakily take a break. And
I think that's a good
but-
accountability. Like that's what I didn't really expect from taking these classes is, 2 times a week and show up and you really work out, even if you're sort of like, oh man, it hasn't been a great day. I've been kind of tired, or I had this and that going on in my mind.
Yeah.
go up and all of a sudden you're here, you're there, you're in the moment, and you work out, and you kind of, that stuff melts away temporarily.
Absolutely.
It's really nice.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. Do you all, so Mr. Bailey, I know that you had said earlier that you had always wanted to try martial arts. Is this your very, very first foray into martial arts? These classes?
Yeah, this is totally my first foray. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was remarking to Maddie the other week or something. I remember taking my parents to a karate studio when I was maybe 14 or 15, like asking, like, can I take lessons? Can I take lessons? And like, didn't happen or whatever. So like, it's been a while since I've been wanting to do this.
At last.
Yeah, finally.
He's doing it.
Yeah, well, we're so glad to have you guys in our community, and talk a little bit about, and Mrs. Bray is saying, welcome to the community, Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey. So do you feel, I mean, real question for you two, do you feel part of the community? I mean, I know you said that the accountability piece is there with the classes, which I think is tremendous. What about the connection piece? Because something that I think that we hear and that I've heard about virtual classes is one thing that I think out there in the traditional virtual classes is kind of lacking, right? It's sort of a YouTube video and the caliber of instruction may or may not be there, but one thing that's definitely lacking is connection. What do you say to that? What's been your experience?
I think what, there is a connection there. I mean, you, and when you're all doing the same physical motion together, you get a sense of that happening on the screen. And then, you know, we have the takeaways afterwards and have a chance to say a little something and listen to some of the other people speak and start learning faces and putting names to them and kind of a personality behind each little square. Some kind of body over there. So yeah, there is a community starting to feel that. And I mean, of course, with the teachers. You know,
yeah, that's great to hear. How are they doing, Mr. Pieper?
Fantastic. Love it. They both earned their black stripes on Monday, so it was awesome. So congratulations to both of you guys.
Yeah, we got graduation coming up in April. So there you go. I see a gold belt in somebody's future. Maybe. I don't listen. Good or not, like, don't raise your I'm not the instructor, but if Mr. Cooper signs off, then I could potentially see a gold belt being earned. Speaking of belts, Ms. Calhoun, something that a lot of our viewers probably don't know is that this is not your first foray into martial arts. You have trained, I know when you were a kid, you trained in person in Middleton, Wisconsin. The reason I know that is that Mr. Quirk was your instructor. And you and I actually met a long time years ago back in Middleton. So it's great to reconnect with you this way. But can you said something when we were doing the test of the stream last night. It really hit me. Now that you are an adult and you have your own career, your own life, how has martial arts, how has it or has it not played into the person that you are today as an adult? Because I think that a lot of parents listening this is really, really valuable information, because a lot of our parents are in the moment, right? Their kids are kids. And we're hoping this return on investment shows up in martial arts. And you're kind of a finished product. So can you talk a little bit about what martial arts has done just for you as an adult in your life?
Yes, ma'am, I will. That's a great question. And I am going to try to keep it concise, because I could talk about this for hours and also could cry, and I'll try not to. But I will say, in thinking about that question since our test chat, really I know without a doubt that my karate experience was the single most important and formative activity, or which eventually became a lifestyle. I can't even call it an activity, you know, but piece of my childhood that made me who I am today. And I think all the stuff you guys normally talk about that I don't need to repeat too much, but all the life skills, the values, respect, perseverance, focus, you know, leadership, community, all that stuff was so helpful. And one of the big ones for me as a young kid was confidence and learning just to try. Because I remember, and Mr. Quirk, I'm sure, remembers this too, that when I first started, I had a lot of confidence trouble, and I was a very timid kid. I tried a lot of different things and gave up right away because I felt like I was failing. I was the slowest kid on the soccer team. I never scored a goal. I was really, quote unquote, bad at sports, which I don't like to use that language anymore. But, at the time, that's what I thought. And I was just, would try these activities and would fail. And it was always heartbreaking and crushing. And then when I came to Karate America, I just, the whole purpose of the practice was completely different. It's not just about how fast can you run, how many goals can you score. It wasn't even just about me as this little kid with all this, these ideas of what I should be doing well. It was about the whole community. And it was about learning to try. So you get, a lot of reinforcement for trying harder. And those mental blocks that I had really started to dissipate, and I became a lot more interested in the challenges. It stopped being about, natural ability and you got to just be born good at something.
Yeah.
It's more fun to be challenged.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring to just be good at something and then it's over, right?
well, what a great life lesson, and what a great thing to learn as a child in such a safe environment where you are challenged, but in a really healthy, positive way. And so I know, Mr. Pieper, so Ms. Calhoun, how old were you when you started training?
7.
Okay, you were 7. Mr. Pieper, how about you? How old were you, sir?
8.
You're 8. What about you, Ms. DeWaide?
4.
She was 4. Okay. So Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide, was that also your experience in training in martial arts as kids? What Ms. Calhoun's talking about and describing?
A little bit. For me, it was much more, I had the confidence, but it was very, I would say not necessarily overly confident, but just very boisterous and like high energy. And it was the refinement that Mr. Cork and my instructors gave me coming up as a kid.
Not you, Mr. Pieper, confident and high energy.
Never. No. My mother can't, in the live stream, in the comment section, she can't attest to my high energy. It's no way. No,
we're not going to have anybody from the Pieper family leaving like thumbs up for the high energy confidence. What about you, Ms. DeWaide?
Well, for me, I started it so young. And it played a huge role in my development because I had my mom and I had my dad, and then I also had my karate instructor. So not only there are so many things that I have learned and that I have just taken away from this. If any of you guys remember Mr. Mealy, Miss Calhoun, you might not know him, but he was one of my instructors.
Miss Calhoun was an older student in class with Mr. Mealy when he was a kid, so she
knows
right. Mr. Mealy,
yeah.
The Karate America community is well connected.
Yes.
All right. Well, Mr. Mealy ended up, when I came here, was my instructor, my first instructor here. I did not start at this Karate America. And he always used to say, well, what price would you put if you had to delete everything that you learned from karate and from martial arts? How many zeros would you have to put on a check in order to do that? And my answer is just none. Like you can't. I can't even begin to tell you how much of an impact this has had on my life. And now it's my career. So
that's awesome.
Pretty great.
That's awesome. So, Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey, if we had not personally invited you to try out virtual classes, is this something that you would have thought maybe like 6 months ago you'd be doing, or?
That's a great question.
I honestly didn't think that it was a possibility. I didn't know that something like this was occurring. I remember because, I knew that Maddie had done a lot of karate in her youth, so we talked about maybe taking martial arts classes and looking around, the area here. But once we were in lockdown and stuck in the house, I didn't even know that was a possibility. So it was really exciting to find out that we still could.
Yeah. And we have a Ms. Calhoun, you bring on a great story and life lesson from Mrs. Apt. So that's awesome.
Apt.
And I know last time we had a live stream, I think Mrs. Apt was going to try classes. Has that happened yet, Mr. Pieper?
Yeah, we're checking in with Mr. Kozlowski to look at her doing some in-person classes, which is awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks.
So if any of you watching the stream tonight have any questions for Ms. Calhoun, for Mr. Bailey, we have some actual real life students from out of state here with us. This is your chance. Or if you want to leave them any comments. Also, if you have any questions for Ms. DeWaide or Mr. Pieper about our worldwide virtual program, now is your chance. One thing that I wanted to bring up, and I alluded to a little bit before we brought our guests on tonight, is that I think the last year has been so difficult and so tough in so many ways that we've all talked about ad nauseum. And this virtual worldwide program, for me personally, and for a lot of people on our team, has been this really positive thing that has come out of the pandemic and has come out of the last year. And I think that one thing that a lot of us have been missing is connection and community. And it's interesting because when I talk to people about virtual classes, especially sometimes people out in the martial arts field, or sometimes parents that have tried it, the thing, like I said, that I've heard is like, well, it's not the same, right, as in-person classes. And I think when we came out with our virtual classes and our virtual program and what we at Karate America want to do with it, even within the industry, even within professional martial arts, it was like, well, that can't be done. And I just remember thinking, I vividly remember people who came before us in martial arts saying, it wasn't that long ago, it was like maybe 30-ish, 40-ish years ago, that teaching martial arts to children cannot be done, right? So this industry did not exist where we were teaching martial arts to kids. It just, period, full stop, it is for adults. We have a friend, Mr. Schaefer, up in the Neenah area, who's a advanced degree, incredibly talented martial artist, black belt, who had to go get special permission and beg his local martial arts studio to let him go take classes even as a teenager when he was a kid, because they just, in our industry, in our field, it was like, we can't teach martial arts to kids, right? And if we go back long enough, it was like, well, we can't teach martial arts to women. Well, women can't be instructors. If we fast forward another couple decades, it's like, well, you can't be an instructor unless you're a world champion. So there have been so many things that have happened along the way in the martial arts that it's interesting to me. I remember, like, can't have after school. We'll never have martial arts after school. It's not a thing. Summer camp, nah, that's silly. We're not going to do that. So it was interesting to me that when virtual hit, a lot of people are saying like, yeah, but you can't really have a good experience with virtual. And there was just this little piece of me that was like, I don't know that you've met our team yet.
Yes.
What we are capable of doing, because it does. I mean, Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide, I think you'll attest to this. It takes a lot of work, right? It's not just like, let's slap up a camera and hit Zoom and go. I mean, how do we make those connections with people when we're not physically standing there with them, right? And how do we have the integrity of the curriculum when the instructor isn't physically standing in the same room? So I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but we can, if we try, we can hit purpose, we can hit values. What's been your experience with that, Mr. Pieper?
Very, very similar. I have to shift the mindset of how I instruct, how I work with a student, just because it's, like you said, Mrs. Quirk, it's not the same as being physically there and being able to change and manipulate. That's where families come in. So a big shift this last rotation we've made was bringing in the families the last 15 minutes of class for the body shield kicking, for the hand target self-defense combo. So that way there's that tactile response still there. And there's that bond that they also have with their family member, which is really awesome.
Yep. So we got a question here from Mr. Knightsky. This is from Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey. What has been your favorite part of the program so far? Good question, Mr. Knightsky.
You want to start?
Well, I wanted to be taking karate, for a long time in my life. I really enjoy feeling like I'm learning something while doing it. And Mr. Pieper just done a fabulous job of paying attention to everybody and making little pointers to correct, my form or just to give some encouragement when I'm doing something well. And that's got to be tough, doing that virtually, paying attention to so many different squares. But I think it's been fun to kind of feel like I'm learning martial arts, and maybe I really am. I think
and you are.
Yeah, and I'm not just flattering you, Mr. Pieper. I completely agree, because that was actually one thing we talked about as a preconceived, notion, was that, well, they won't really be watching us. They won't, they can't give feedback to everybody. That part will be tough. And that has not been true at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. So, and I think that so back to the original question, what my favorite part has been, my experience is a little unusual because of the previous, experience that I had, but I think it's just that is the getting back into it is so fun and feels so, just fun and feels really good, and is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time and wouldn't have been possible without this worldwide program. I could have gone to find another school, I'm sure, but
Not right now.
not right now. And this is my home anyway, and this is just such a gift to be able to participate from afar and do this again.
That's awesome.
I feel like it's enjoyable to watch improvement over the weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
The very first session was very intimidating, and I was like, "What am I doing? I hope that I'm doing this right." But now that I'm, a little further in, I see an improvement in what I'm doing, and it feels really good. That's great. That's
Yep.
fun.
What advice do you have? We have from a Facebook user. What advice do you have for those that are considering the virtual program but hesitant to join? This is for all three of you.
I can jump in first.
Sure.
Try it. That's the biggest thing. Try one class. Connect with me if you are hesitant, and give me a call. I would love to talk to you and kind of go through that. But jumping in feet first, in my experience, even just teaching, you gotta just get in the pool.
There you go.
I think that's great advice. That's a
I
good
agree.
point. Yeah.
Just give it a try. What do you have to lose, right?
Yes.
It's one class.
Make sure that you make a little space somewhere in your house.
Yes.
Too.
More space. Right.
Mr. a huge house, so.
Mr. Quirk's asking, what's different about virtual now compared to those first couple months? Mr. Pieper, Ms. DeWaide, any of our parents and students listening in, what would you say is now? We've been doing this for about a year. Those of you who are experiencing our virtual worldwide classes right now, how is it different? Is it different? And if so, how is it different?
With that interactivity part, I say every single kid's name at least once, or adult's name. There's that connection there. In the beginning, I know our intentions were slightly different, so it was more of just guiding, and then we did some like private lesson type stuff, small group lessons. I would say with it kind of being with the group together and with all the stripe testing and things we do, I just really love having that same group of kids and be able to interact. So when we have the value of the month, they unmute it so I can hear them. They can hear each other, and they're not alone. They're not shouting into a vacuum, just to some guy on a screen with a face.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm taking karate class with people who might not even be in the same state as me, which is amazing.
Yeah. We have Mr. Orlop saying what's different for him is camera resolution. Thank you, Mr. Orlop. We have invested in equipment. I'm really glad that the intention matches the impact. We have a question here from Mrs. Apps. Can I take the evaluation to join virtually? Ms. DeWaide, Mr. Pieper, you want to jump on that one?
Evaluation. Is that the candidate evaluation, or I'm confused as to what
Possibly
evaluation?
an orientation class, maybe?
Possibly. Orientation, yes.
Yes. If you want to take an orientation lesson, I can actually go ahead and reach out to you and get
Awesome.
that. You can get that.
Go,
Awesome.
Mrs. Apt.
Ms. DeWaide is gonna hook you up, Mrs. App. She's gonna reach out to you.
To join, perfect. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Ms. Hansen is saying, Ms. Calhoun, what are you looking forward to seeing Mr. Bailey learn?
Ooh,
That's an interesting question.
that is a great question.
I'd like to know.
Backflips. No, I mean, everything this morning. So fun, and he seems really into it. I mean, the intensity and the. I agree that you've already gotten a lot stronger, and your kicks are powerful, and it's so fun. I can't think of one specific thing. We've loved the times where we've been able to use pillows and do like target hitting. That's been fun for us.
You guys have your equipment yet? You got your X-ray paper and your focus pad?
Yeah, no.
Wait till you have that, right? Wait till you hear that crack, that snap of that X-ray paper.
Next step.
Yes.
That's next step. We were talking about needing something like that.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta get on the app for the student discount and get your virtual package. Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide will hook you up.
Definitely.
Mrs. Jerry saying, Mr. Pieper, your ability to be able to teach virtually and flipping directions is amazing. What's she referring to here, Mr. Pieper, for people who might not understand?
So
we actually had an issue with this the other day when we were filming.
We did. I was hoping you were going to talk about that, Mrs. Cork, because that was quite the, oh yeah. So if you guys don't know, Zoom doesn't mirror, meaning if I raise my right hand, this is actually my left hand. So if all you guys at home actually do this with me now, raise your hand and mirror me. I actually have to call this my right hand and this my left hand.
Right.
When I'm teaching forms, I'm actually doing the mirror opposite. But then I have to then reverse flip when I go to take my own in-person class or my own class and teach in person because it's not reversed again. So I'm literally reversing my lefts and rights and then reversing them back.
Yeah, when we say hashtag Mr. Pieper wizardry, that's not a joke. He is literally, the other day when we were filming something, he did like the entire video and was telling people that he was doing things and like in all seriousness looking at the camera. And he's like, so I do this on my left. And he promptly opened his right and did whatever with his uniform. And we did the whole video. And it was perfect. Then Mr. Quirk was like, that was really good, but you are 20 however years old and you don't have your left and right correct. And Mr. Pieper's like, oh yeah, that's embedded in my brain now. So we had some concerns about how that's going to play out, like with traffic safety. I don't know, but we hope that you can make that switch when you're teaching virtually and then when you're going out in the world for safety concerns. Your left and your right are there. If you guys think that Mr. Pieper is a wizard, leave a wizard emoji. You can also leave a brain emoji because it kind of blows my mind how he's able. I'm with you, Mrs. Jerry. How he's just able to do that. I don't know. I don't know how he does that. Mr. Quirk is saying, if we have any video studio lighting experts out there, we would love your help improving our setup. Yes, if you or somebody you know is a video studio lighting expert, please contact us because we are always, no drama, we're always looking at how we can improve our setup for our families. Mr. Jury saying, Mrs. Jury and I think Mr. Pieper's ability to read the room and use his awareness to help correct and tweak students' technique and form has improved over the last year. Interesting.
Well, I know a lot of focus has been on me, but also Miss DeWaide with her job behind the scenes of either the technology and fixing issues as well as greeting people. She is literally the first face of virtual and worldwide you see every single night. So I could not do what I do without her. So thank you, Miss DeWaide. Throw some comments also thanking Miss DeWaide because literally she is amazing. Yeah. So thank you, ma'am.
Ms. DeWaide is like the bowl that holds the milk and the cereal together for Karate America worldwide. She may not get a lot of the kudos and be out in front. I mean, this is really the position of any of our community builders. We used to call them program coordinators, kind of our front office customer service people for our academies. But for worldwide, I mean, Ms. DeWaide has been working so hard. I probably get like 3 texts per day from her, literally, of things that she's like thinking of and following up on and doing for the program. Her sense of purpose is just so inspiring, and she works so hard for you guys being the team and the students and the families. If you could follow her around for a day, you would just be like doing this, giving her the golf clap all the time because she's so dedicated to our program, and we're so grateful to have her on the team. So yeah, definitely leave Ms. DeWaide some emojis too if you think that she's awesome. Leave her a couple of black hearts because she's a black belt. There you go. Mr. Pieper's getting some wizard. Mr. Pieper wizardry. Mrs. Pieper, yay, Ms. DeWaide, great job.
Hi, Mom.
Ray, great job. Yeah, Mrs. Pieper was asking about your sense of direction. Yikes, I'm
I
scared.
know.
Should I up the instrument?
I know.
Possibly. We got Ms. DeWaide. I'm sorry, guys. We have Ms. DeWaide on a kind of a technical lag tonight. She happens to be in a place where her video is not cooperating. So what was that, Ms. DeWaide? I think we missed what you said.
Oh, all good, all good. I was saying there was a question earlier about how is Worldwide different from when we first started. Really good indication of that is my job did not exist.
That's
so
true.
now, you know, when you log in, I am here to ask questions, to talk, to communicate, to take feedback for you guys, and just kind of a little awareness of like, I'm here. I'm sending emails, calling people. I'm always available. No drama to talk about karate and your guys' journey. So.
It was funny you mentioned that, Ms. DeWaide, because actually before, during the summer, I actually was Ms. DeWade's job of being behind the computer, doing all this stuff, but I just did the tech side of things. I wasn't greeting, I was doing a lot of things. So we basically kind of did a switcheroo, and then Ms. DeWaide grew that position incredibly. So
yep. And she takes her title of community builder very, very seriously. This is a worldwide community, not just squares on a screen. We talk all the time. These are human beings. These are families. We want to live our purpose and values and change people's lives, no matter what their zip code or time zone is. And so that's what she and Mr. Pieper and the team are focused on every single day. Mr. Hansen is saying, Ms. DeWaide is fabulous. Love when she starts class and welcomes all of us. Got some wizardry going on from Mr. Jury. Got some black belt, black hearts for yay, Ms. DeWaide. Mrs. Jury says she appreciates you very much. You're a rock star, Ms. DeWaide. Got another one from Ms. DeWaide. Ms. Kaniewski says, thanks for helping me work through my technical issues. And Ms. DeWaide, you rock. So that brings us, I know we're winding down the hour here, guys, but I had a couple just little fun things planned if you want to hang in there with me. Anybody on my team that knows me right now is like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Quirk came up with a game. Like, ugh, I'm not really the game person in the group, so bear with me. But I thought I would put something together that could be a little bit fun tonight. So just bear with me.
Speaking of games, Mrs. Quirk, we got the game show night.
Thank you for reminding me. That's what a perfect segue. Let's talk about virtual game night, Mr. Pieper.
This Saturday is going to be this Saturday, March 13th from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It's going to be completely virtual. So you can invite karate students, invite your friends from all over the country. And if you have people from different countries like Canada or Mexico who are in the kind of same time zones, invite them. Have them be their first international karate students, which is going to be so what we're going to be playing is different kind of game shows. So I'm going to kind of take on the persona of different game show hosts. So we got Family Feud, we got different like a trivia wheel, we got Guess That Song. So I'm going to play like a quick clip of a song, and you guys have to guess who it's by and who sings it and stuff, and what song it is. And families jump in there as well, especially because I might be playing some older classic songs. So jump in there too. And it's going to be an awesome, awesome time. So if you have any questions, reach out to me, Ms. DeWaide, or any of the team members, and they can point you in our direction.
Yeah, you think Mrs. Pieper that Mr. Pieper is super excited for game show night? I think he is too. And what I love about our events is that when our team and our staff get super pumped about something, it just makes it so much more fun. So if you have any hesitation about signing up for game show night, I highly recommend that you just jump right in and join Mr. Pieper for this coming Saturday night. It's going to be awesome. We have actually a question we can circle back to from Mr. Jeske. How does the team plan on reaching the other side of the world in the future? We've actually talked about that. We do have some people tuning in on our YouTube channel from other countries, and it's about scheduling, and getting staff certified. We're going to, in the future, need more instructors who can accommodate more time zones in the future. You know, right now we have people on in the central time zone. We have people on the East Coast time zone. We're looking to get some more students from Mountain and Pacific. But yeah, I mean, once we start getting somebody from Pakistan or Thailand or England or Ireland. You know, I casually told Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide they have to start learning what? Mandarin,
That's right.
Arabic, French, German. I mean, just like the
Yep.
basics, right? Like Spanish,
Right.
so that you can accommodate those students. But yeah, we're thinking about that, Mr. Jeske, how we're going to reach people all over the globe to truly, truly be worldwide. Mrs. Pieper is mentioning that Mr. Pieper is getting out the vinyl for Saturday night.
I do have some vinyl. So, I mean, I could if we want to. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I have this story created that like I hesitate to ask you what you mean by oldies because it's gonna make me feel really old.
I was
So
thinking,
let's just not even go there.
Completely
Like
story.
you're probably talking about like the late 90s or something. I'm not sure. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm sure it's gonna be a fantastic event.
They'll have to tune in to find out what I mean.
Tune in to find out what Mr. Pieper means by oldies. There you go. There you go. If we can all stay up that late, right?
That's right.
Okay, so that brings us to kind of our closing piece. We have two little fun things for you guys. So first of all, everybody can hide their cameras for a second for me, please, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a poll for our families. What's the biggest benefit do you think, those of you that are training in KA worldwide, let's take a poll. What do you think is the biggest benefit of training virtually in KA worldwide? Drop a comment. A, if it's the convenience of not having to drive and deal with roads and traffic and changing. B, if it's the connection, making connections that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. C, fewer distractions. We've been hearing that a lot. Or D, other. So in the comment, let's see what we got. Okay, we have a vote for A, convenience from Mrs. Jury. No traffic, no parking, no bad roads, no changing, just jump into my living room and take karate class. We'll see what else we got. So far, A is winning. Oh, Mr. Orlop is saying A too, very convenient, A. I have a story created that you guys from the Twin Cities, I don't know. You guys tell me, Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey, what do you think? We're getting all votes for A for convenience right now.
The landslide.
Yeah.
I was leaning towards convenience, but you know, connection is kind of cool too. Like,
yeah,
you know, seeing people from other places that I wouldn't have met otherwise.
Yeah, we got an A and B. Mr. Hansen's coming with all of the above. No fair. B and A from Ms. Kaniewski. Yeah, so connection and convenience seem to be a biggie. Okay, one last thing that I will say. And B, Ms. Hansen saying B, she gets to watch her parents take class way up north in Lake Tomahawk, Wisconsin. So cool. So happy to have the whole greater Hansen family as part of our KA community. It's awesome. So, okay, this is the last thing that we're going to do tonight, guys. I think it was last week, I believe, Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWaide, if you're still on, if you can hear me, we had some training. We do, every other week, we do some customer engagement training. And I hold the training. And this last time, I had a challenge for the whole team. Mr. Pieper, I love your poker face, sir. You just, you're like laughing at what's coming.
Oh, I know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, Mr. Pieper flunked out of spy school, just so you guys know, and that's why he's here at karate. He cannot like hold the right. But we had some training, and I had a challenge toward the end because I've been working with martial artists now for a little over 20 years. And one thing that I know is that if I make it a challenge and I make it a contest, just the involvement just goes up and their eyes kind of light up and everybody all of a sudden is paying attention. So we had a challenge at the end, and the winner was our very own Ms. DeWaide. So that was well done, Ms. DeWaide. You won the training challenge. And I want to share with you all, because this is pretty amazing, what Ms. DeWaide won. She won Spritz. His name is Spritz. He is adorable. He's a handsome, as Ms. DeWaide said, well-dressed gentleman. He is now a part of our worldwide team. He's a staff member in Karate America Worldwide. I know there's a picture of him like right next to her phone. So his name is Spritz. So my question, this is the final thing for the night, the final vote from everybody who's watching right now. And I got Mr. Knightsky and Ms. DeWade's permission to share this with you all. So ready? Who wore it best? This is our bespectacled team members at Karate America. So we have A, vote A if it's Mr. Knightsky, best Karate America team member in glasses. B, if it's me, Mrs. Quirk. C, if it's Spritz. and D if it's Ms. DeWaide. So all of our team members at KA that wear glasses. Oh, it's Mr. Knightsky, A. Okay, 1 vote for Mr. Knightsky. Anybody else?
Okay, through.
C, we got Spritz. Mr. Orlop is voting for Spritz. A and D, Mr. Knightsky, Ms. DeWaide. C, another for Spritz. Mr. Knightsky is like mopping up the points tonight. Thanks, Mrs. Jury. Pity vote for Mrs. Quirk from Mrs. Jury. I appreciate that. Mrs. Bray's going with A.
It's the
All right,
lighting.
guys.
It's the lighting.
I'm surprised Mr. Knightsky hasn't commented and voted for himself yet.
I know. There's a lot of restraint there.
Right.
All right. Well, it looks like, guys, our winner for the night of who wore it best with Karate America glasses is A, Mr. Knightsky. Round of applause for Mr. Knightsky. You are everybody's favorite glasses wearing, corrective lens wearing team member, Mr. Knightsky. Look at this, Mr. Knightsky voting for himself, A. Mr. Quirk has no choice. He voted for me, so I got Mrs. Jury and Mr. Quirk in my corner. So we will then I don't know what we'll do for Mr. Knightsky, but we're gonna have to give him like a sash or a badge or maybe like a patch for his uniform or something like that. Like voted for the best glasses wearing KA team member tonight. So listen, guys, thank you so much. We are at the end of our live stream. This has been a lot of fun. Mr. Pieper, anything that you want to say to any of the families or people watching before we sign off for the night?
Whatever you think virtual classes are, take one and find out. Like we've said all night, we have changed and really started to hone in on what makes Karate America Karate class so great and just refined it into our virtual class. And that's and it's just like this golden nugget of amazingness. So take the golden nugget.
Take the golden nugget. I see a hashtag coming our way. Hashtag golden nugget. What about you, Ms. DeWaide? Are you still with us? Anything you want to say to our families and students who are still watching? I think Ms. DeWaide, she had some technical difficulties tonight. So what about you, Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey? Any closing thoughts, closing remarks for anybody that's watching right now about the virtual program?
If you want to check out martial arts, this is a great way to do it. This is a great, initial step to toe in the water kind of way, and you'll be pleasantly surprised at how fun it is and how much you learn and the workout. It's more than you expect.
I echo all of that. I would also say, I feel that I remember that can't is not allowed on the karate floor or something.
Yep, no such thing.
I used to have to do push-ups if I touch or something. Can't make it virtual is no, absolutely. This is really been such a positive thing for us, and I'm so glad you guys had black belt attitudes and went for it and plowed, really went for it, and this is amazing. We're just enjoying it so much.
That's fantastic. Thank you. We're so happy to have you in the community. And Mr. Pieper, if anybody wants to get in touch and they're wondering how they can get hooked up with Worldwide, where should they call or email?
Yeah, send us an email over at worldwide, all undercase, at mykarateamerica.info. Myself or Ms. DeWaide will reach out to you guys. We'd love to have you.
Nice. Thank you so much, Ms. Calhoun and Mr. Bailey. Thank you for, after an exhausting class, thank you for staying up with us and being our very special guests. It's really been a privilege and a treat to have you guys on the live stream tonight. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
for having us. Thank you.
And next week, for everybody watching, it will be St. Patrick's Day. It will be March 17th, and it will be 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. And we will be right back here in our live stream with very special guest, Mr. Kozlowski from KA Pewaukee and Mr. Holt from KA Oregon. We're going to be talking about tradition, culture, reverence, and what it means for martial arts students training today. So please join us back here next week, guys. Thank you for tuning in with us. You all that are watching and commenting and joining and sharing our YouTube channel, you're making this a real success for us, and it's just a real joy to be able to connect with you guys this way. So everybody have a good night. I'm going to take us out with the outro. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.